In this tutorial, I'm going to be looking at the massive scarf print trend of the season, as inspired by Dolce & Gabbana, and repeated, well, pretty much everywhere. So this is going to be my take. It's pretty simple. It requires no patterns whatsoever, no painting, tiny bit of sewing, but not that much, I promise. So enjoy. You're going to need a scarf, at least 1 metre by 1 metre, which is not that easy to find, I'll admit that. I got this second hand after a lot of perseverance on the internet. You then want to fold it into 4 parts. In fact, I'm just going to use pins in the corners just to align it correctly. So what I find helps is to sort of iron it folded in half, so you get to align everything and you get to fix it. And then you want to fold your scarf into quarters, like so. And then you want to take the immense leap of faith by making just a tiny little cut here, by about 5 millimeters, thereabout. Just eyeball it. Then when you've done that, with it still folded into quarters, just pin these bits together, just to be safe. Pin at reasonable intervals. Taking some form of measurement, I'm going to use my Pattern Master, but you can just use a ruler. Measure about 12 centimeters from both of the sides. I'm just going to cut them in notch form. I'll just put a light on it so that you can see more easily. So after 12 centimeters, we're just going to cut a little notch there to remind ourselves. Again, making this notch sort of 5 millimeters deep or thereabout. Take our pins out. Slight confession, I've decided to slightly change my strategy, and I'll explain why in a minute. In fact, I've sort of done this with the outer notches. Make sure they're at a bit of an angle, like so. Again, within the region of 5 millimeters. And all the explained why in a minute. And now that it's again ironed in place, so that we've got a nice crisp, clear fold, I'm going to take this pin out and I'm just going to cut along the line at the top. Up to the notch. Then we want to tuck it over, just up to the edges of the slits, both along the length and at the side, hence the angle. We're just going to pin it down, like so. So if you can see, that forms a nice triangle and gets rid of any nasty raw edges. Then you want to sew your fabric in place along the edge. Just keep it as close to the edge as possible, sort of a millimetre or thereabouts. And you can align it using the foot of your sewing machine. And then you just want to snip it again. Just a tiny little nip at the side to cover stitching. So it will turn over properly, like literally a millimetre. Then pin it in place. Turn it over and sew it again. And after you finish the neck, so that there are no raw edges showing, as you can hopefully see there, you want to take some of the pins out the bottom so that you can fit it over your head. Not all of them, because you still want to keep it straight at the sleeves, sort of sleeves, all be revealed. Then you want to put it over your head, like so. Through there, and take some of the pins out there. I guess you think we're nearly finished. There's just one last component we need to add before this becomes a fully fledged top. So making sure that the bottom and the top are parallel, we want to mark out where, just under the bust there. So we need to find kind of where the sides both meet, again using pins, and just underneath the bust. the next part, it's a little bit of coordinate practice, so try and get your neckline straight, and then you just want to measure how far it is down. We should still have our crease from ironing to just under the bust. That's where we want to measure down from. So from the crease down to about there on me is 23 centimeters. From the edge, it's 45. So just measure those out on your original. And then once you're happy that they're marked out in the right place, you want to measure, in our case, it's going to be 3.5 centimeters, but whatever the width of your ribbon is. Again, using your silver gel pen, or any kind of contrasting gel pen. I quite like gel pens because they're quite easy to rub off, as long as they're not kind of opaque, which is why I recommend the metallic ones. Once you've done that, I'm going to use my little snip scissors for this because they've got quite a sharp edge, you can get quite a bit of control. And I'm going to take the slit here, and rather than just cutting along it, I'm going to cut along most of it. But just at the end, I'm going to leave a little bit of a V. It'll only go out like, sort of give or take, 5 millimeters. Like so. And that's to fold under so that you don't get any nasty raw edges. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Like so. Then when you've done that, you just want to pin it back on itself, kind of like we did with the neckline. And then when you've done that, sew them over as before, cut away the excess, turn it over, sew that in place just like with a neckline. Finally, for the belt, you want a generous amount of ribbon, sort of, that can easily fit around your ribs, possibly twice as much, just so that you can get a nice bow at the back. And this is about 3.5 centimeters wide. I'd advise going to your local market or independent fabric shop. I just got this from a major department store out of convenience, but I'd say market would be your best bet. Fold it in half, because I'm going to embellish this. I found this quite nice trim, which actually came off an old headband, which I picked up for £2, which wasn't that bad. So yes, I'm just going to fold this ribbon in half to make it absolutely concentric. Just leave a fold in there. Do not cut notches, because especially if it's a satin ribbon like this, it just frays like all hell. Just eyeball it to try and get it straight, and then you're going to take some contact adhesive, all-purpose adhesive, and just stick it on. Instructions may well vary. Generally with contact adhesive you have to sort of apply it to both sides and leave it to dry, well, become tacky, and then press it together. So we're just going to glue this. Fairly generously, not so that it seeps through the whole fabric. Just use it to map out where it needs to go there. Add to the glue on both sides. And when you're ready, just stick that down. And when you've stuck your decoration on the ribbon, just thread it through all the holes that we cut, and if you notice here at the sides and at the back, tie it at the back, and you should have your kimono sleeved scarf print top. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I did. Until next time.